Hi guys, I saw this obvious Chinese clone of the Insta360 Go3 for around $30 and I thought for a laugh I'm going to order it and see exactly what it's like. Now it's advertised to be able to do 4K at 30 frames per second, whereas the Insta360 one can only do up to 2.7K, so this is pretty cool, right? So if it's decent, then we have a 90% saving. Now I'm not expecting much for this camera for such little money. Now it's got to be pretty crap for its money, right? Now, it's either decent quality from China or it should go into the Chinese garbage pile. Well, let's find out. Okay, so this popped up when browsing on AliExpress and it looks almost identical to the Go3, Insta360 Go3, especially in white. Now, it's a similar size and weight. Now, with a name like Go3, it's obviously going to mislead consumers that it's the actual as identical to the Insta360 Go3, when quite clearly it's not. Now, in fact, I think the name actually is G03 rather than Go3, a really subtle difference, obviously to stop them getting sued. Now, it's advertised at having stabilization and 4K resolution. Now, with all these fancy videos on the website, it looks the business. Now, I'm not expecting much out of this camera for the price, and my purpose was just to use it as a secondary camera for another viewpoint to film videos of me doing some demos with fairly stationary footage. Okay, so what do we get in the box? Obviously we get the camera, and it indeed looks very similar in shape and size and weight to the Insta360 Go3. It only has a Chinese instruction manual included, no other languages, so Google Translate has a bit of a workout. Now it also has this little touchscreen at the back for reviewing footage, etc., and changing some of the settings, so that's one advantage. At least we don't need the action pod or to use a mobile phone to see the footage. Now it also has a couple of accessories. A clip where we can just clip it into the folder like this, and this also becomes magnetic just like the real Go3, so we can mount it anywhere that's metal. Now it also has this little tripod mount as well, so far so good. Now switching it on involves pressing perhaps the world's worst button that's really hard to press, and you really have to grip the camera in almost a vice-like grip to get the damn thing to come on. Now switching it off is even worse. Sometimes it would not go off, or would go off and then just come on again, and then would take a few attempts before it goes off, and that really pissed me off right from the beginning. Okay, now it can actually be charged by USB-C slots as normal, and the battery life seems to be about 1 hour. Now, at least it is USB-C and not that god-awful mini USB rubbish that some devices still seem to have. Now there is also a card slot, which is just here, for putting a normal mini SD card. Now the next negative point is that the camera is advertised as an action camera, but there is no protection against water with these open slots. So any splash of water will probably kill the camera, the card, or both. So forget about taking this camera out in the rain or underwater like you can with the official Insta360 Go3. So really no waterproofing then. So the user interface of the camera really does suck. The screen is not very sensitive, so it does actually take a couple of swipes to get anything to actually appear. And the settings page is pretty bleak. It has this video resolution option where the only option is 4K 30 frames per second. So if that is the only resolution available, then why bother with this option at all? It could just simply be removed. We can actually select some resolution for the photos, but I didn't really bother with testing a photo as I predicted the results would pretty much suck, whatever the resolution chosen. Now it's also possible to connect the camera with Wi-Fi, so we just need to switch it on from the camera itself, and then download the FunDV camera app. Believe me, the name FunDV is a bit of an oxymoron. It's not fun at all, it's a pretty horrible app to be honest. It should have been called NunDV, BumDV or CrapDV, would be a much better choice. It really is the world's worst designed camera app. To connect to the camera, you need to manually connect to the Wi-Fi in the settings, and then press this big horrible button. And then you're presented with a horrible screen with a small preview window, a record button, and some basic options, and that's it. It really is the crappiest app I've ever seen, and pretty much an embarrassment to the App Store. Now I don't really care there's not much settings, but at least make some effort to make the app appear a little bit more professional. So a big fat minus for this. Anyway, let's continue, and maybe the image quality of this little camera is going to blow us all away and make up for the downfall so far. So the camera is advertised at 4K resolution, so I thought, wow, that's amazing. So I've done some random test shots, and reviewing the footage, it's very obvious that the image is poor quality, but I suppose that is expected at this price range. Now, even though it's 4K, it doesn't look like it. The video is really noisy, and yes, it's not the best lighting conditions, but the official Go3 is far superior in quality. So this video footage is blurry and lacks details. It looks like something from an old iPhone, to be honest. Another big fat minus. And the stabilization also sucks too. I'd say there isn't any despite the claims there. Another big fat minus. Okay, well, are there any positives at all for this camera? Well, the only good thing is that the screen at the back that allows you to actually see the footage, and that's it. So in this state and quality, I would struggle to say this camera is even worth $30. Maybe it's a stocking filler for a kid or a secret Santa present for someone at work that you really hate, but I would say it's not worth more than $5 for the usability and quality. So this can firmly stay in the Chinese junk pile. I don't think Insta360 have anything really to worry about. And it does really prove that you need to spend a decent amount of money to get something actually usable. So if you see this on AliExpress or anywhere else, don't bother, okay? It absolutely sucks. So I hope that's been useful in some way, or at least mildly entertaining. Of course, hit that subscribe button if you enjoy the video, and then take care, and I shall see you soon.